Hey, what's going on everybody? It's etaprime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new GMKTec K1 mini PC. Now on the channel I've taken a look at a few of the GMKTec mini PCs, but this is definitely coming in as one of the most powerful so far because this is powered by an AMD RYZEN APU with 8 cores, 16 threads, and a boost up to 4.7 GHz. And as you can see, they've managed to keep it in a very small form factor. Now, if you head over to their website, you'll notice that they have the K1 and the K2. The one we're taking a look at in this video is known as the GMKTec K1 Mini PC. I might be able to get my hands on the K2 if the interest is there, so just let me know in the comments below. I can do a review on that. But with the K1, inside of the box, what we're going to get here is obviously the mini PC. We get an HDMI cable and a 120 watt power supply. Now this isn't going to pull 120 watts, but we can get kind of close there with the performance that this thing puts out. And by the end of this video, I'll have all of the power consumption data that you need to know about this thing. When it comes to I/O, up front here we've got a 3.5mm audio jack, USB 4, and this is using 40 gigabit protocol, so we can connect an eGPU, and we also have 2 full-size USB 3.2 ports. Taking a look around back, power in, dual HDMI, 1 USB 2.0 port, another full-size 3.2 port, and 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. In total, we can do 3 displays out of this, utilizing both of these HDMI ports and USB 4 up front. I did want to give you a look at the internals here, and I was kind of surprised because with this, they're actually using ADATA RAM. This supports DDR5 running at 4800 megatransfers per second, and we've also got a Lexar SSD. This supports a PCIe 3.0 NVMe SSD, and we can go up to 2 terabytes here. And getting into the unit, super easy. We don't need any kind of tools. The top just pops off and we can access that SSD and RAM right here. When it comes to specs, the new GMKTec K1 is powered by the AMD Ryzen 7 6800H. We've got 8 cores, 16 threads, a base clock of 3.2 GHz, and a boost up to 4.7. Graphics are going to be handled by the Radeon 680M iGPU. It's based on RDNA 2. We've got 12 compute units, and this will run it up to 2200 MHz. This supports DDR5 up to 64 gigabytes. This unit here has 32 running at 4800 megatransfers per second. We've got enough room in here for 1 NVMe SSD. We've also got Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2, and of course, since this is an x86 PC, we could run Linux on it, but it does come pre-installed with Windows 11 Pro, and that's if you don't buy the bare bones version. If you go with the bare bones version, you will have to add your own RAM and storage. Alright, so here we are. I've been up and running for a little while now, and this little thing has been trucking along. I mean, this little 6800H actually does a really great job with gaming. I wanted to check out the TDP. Now, unfortunately, from the BIOS that we have with this, we cannot adjust the TDP or the RAM speed. Hopefully that changes down the road, but yeah, as you can see, we've got that 6800H, 32 gigabytes of RAM at 4800 megahertz DDR5, and the Radeon 680M iGPU. So usually with these mini PCs, we can go directly in the BIOS and set the overall TDP, but with this, we're kind of stuck right there at, I'd say 45 watts. And yeah, it jumps up to 45, but you know, when it needs a little bit of a boost, I've seen it jump up to around 58 watts, which isn't bad. I mean, it definitely helps out with that GPU, keeping the clocks up on both. But the very first thing I did was run a few benchmarks, so let's go ahead and check those out first. When it comes to Geekbench 5, 1,546 on the single core, multi 9,112. Not bad at all for a mobile chip and a super small form factor PC. Next up, we've got 3D Mark Night Raid, total score here 25,729. Firestrike 6,359. And finally Time Spy with a 2,726. Now, the highest score I've ever been able to get out of the Radeon 680M iGPU is around 3100, and that was on the 6800HX, which actually runs at around 2400 megahertz on this 680M, and I also had 6000 megahertz RAM. I'm pretty sure we could get this 6800H up there if we were able to add faster RAM, but right now the BIOS is a bit locked down. So far with these synthetic benchmarks, it's not looking too shabby for this little chip, but now it's time to move over to some real-world gaming. Here we are at 1080p, medium settings, no FSR, and we can get an average of around 73 FPS with this game. And of course, you know, turning FSR on, we can definitely get much higher. At 720p with FSR set to performance, we can get an average of around 115 FPS. The latest updates for both of the Spider-Man games have increased performance on these APUs dramatically. Here we are at 720p low with FSR set to performance. We can get an average of 67 FPS, and I gotta give props to the devs. They've done a really great job optimizing this game for these lower end systems, so I was really hoping that we could do this at 1080p, low settings with FSR set to performance. And it gets really close, but unfortunately we just don't have the power to kind of push this over 60 at 1080p. At very low settings with FSR set to ultra performance, we can definitely do it, but it really degrades the picture quality, and I personally don't think it's worth it. One game I really love running on these APUs is Doom Eternal because I've always ended up getting really great performance. 1080p medium settings, we can get over 60. We got an average of 68 FPS out of this game. And if you need a little more, we've always got dynamic resolution scale or static scale. I know it's an older one, but I love throwing it in here, and with those newer Radeon drivers, this performs great on these APUs, even on Vega. But GTA 5 1080p normal settings on the 6800H with that 680M iGPU, we can average 89 FPS with this game. Here's Cyberpunk 2077, 720p low settings. We can get an average of 71 FPS, 720p low. So I got my hopes up, and I was really wanting to go to 1080p, but 1080p low, we're right there under 60. I mean, it's getting so close with a lot of these games, and with faster RAM, we could probably hit those marks, but right now, with that 4800 megahertz RAM, it's just not possible with Cyberpunk 2077. And finally, I wanted to test out Modern Warfare 2. We're at 1080p with the auto preset. Once you boot the game up, it'll ask if you want to automatically configure everything, and I just hit yes with this little APU. And this actually turns FSR to balanced, so at performance we could get much better out of it, but we got an average of 96 FPS, a low of 59. Not bad for integrated graphics whatsoever. I mean, the game is definitely playable, and it works great even on older Vega 8 graphics with a lower resolution. Another thing I like to take a look at is total system power consumption. So while I'm testing with these mini PCs, it's plugged into a kilowatt meter, and this measures total system power from the wall. At idle, pulls around 16 watts, gaming 59 watts, and the maximum that I could get this to pull while maxing out the CPU and GPU to 100% was 78 watts. These Ryzen 6000 series mini PCs do require a little more wattage to get up there in that performance range we're looking for, but still, when you compare this to, let's say, a full-size desktop, this thing is actually a very low-powered system. Overall, definitely one of my favorite performing mini PCs from GMKTec so far, and they also offer the K2, which has that 7735HS. Basically, it's just a bit higher on the clock over the 6800H, but with the correct wattages, I mean, we can get there right at that same kind of performance level. So if you're interested in learning a little more about the GMKTec K1 or even the K2, I'll leave some links in the description. And if there's anything else you want to see running on or with this mini PC, just let me know in the comments below. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. And like always, thanks for watching.